Good afternoon and welcome to the Monday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. It has been a warm spell over the last 5, 7, even 10 days really, because London has seen in excess of 25 Celsius for 11 straight days. I believe that ended yesterday. I don't believe that we've seen temperatures as high as 25 this afternoon, but nevertheless, it has been fairly warm. Obviously, a lot more changeable up here across the north of the British Isles, but these are the temperature anomalies over the last 7 days. Firmly warmer than average. Iberia, France, Low Countries, Germany, all of the UK and Ireland. The upcoming 7-day period is looking like this here, where we do have a slightly cooler northwest, but still warmer than average for the bulk of Ireland, Northern Ireland, England, Wales and eastern Scotland. Staying cool on average across Scandinavia and into the west of Russia. Now, what we actually have is an increase in strength of jet stream. We have got very windy conditions, in fact, unseasonably windy, even today up here across Scotland, where we've got the brisk westerly winds that have been blowing all day, and we've been seeing some fairly cool temperatures as a result of that as well. But always the further south you go, the warmer, the drier, the less windy it is. But we are going to see a strengthening of the jet over the next few days. This is the latest visible radar here, visible satellite, should I say. I always seem to manage to get mixed up with that for some reason. But you can see here that we do have a frontal system that is now moving into the heart of Germany here, in the eastern portions of Germany. This is bringing something a little bit fresher into the north of France, Low Countries, Germany, and as well as that across England, Wales, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Ireland also. We do have a little feature that is developing some showers and thunderstorms over Iberia. We're also seeing some storms blowing up along this boundary between very warm air to the south and something fresher coming in behind a system over the UK and Ireland. Now, as a consequence of that clash zone, we are seeing plenty of thunderstorms erupting from Iberia through the south of France into central areas of Europe, as can be seen here off lightningmaps.org. So in terms of the fresher air, you can see it off the GFS model here. This is the 850s, showing the squeezing isobars, meaning we've got those strong gusty winds. We're seeing slightly less warmth and humidity through the course of today compared to recent days. So the peak of the heat was 33.2 at Charlwood in Surrey, I believe. So that was the maximum with that hot spell that has just ended. But you can see here plenty of warmth across Central and Southern Europe, and it's really along this boundary between something fresher and hot, humid continental air that is forcing the development of fairly strong showers and thunderstorms. These are the current temperatures then of Meteoseal, and if it's going to upload for me, there we go. So you can see here fresher air now moving into the Low Countries, much fresher. In fact, we were talking about low to mid 30s. Back on Saturday, even yesterday afternoon, we've seen 30s down to the teens and low 20s now across Belgium, Netherlands, northern portions of France, where it's been very hot in recent days, and then also into the central regions of Germany, where we had exceptionally warm days and nights over the course of the weekend. Still staying hot across the south of Europe, Balkans, Greece, Turkey. Something a little bit less warm the further north you go over Europe. So we are increasing the strength of the jet stream, and that can be tailed back. That can be tied back to a building heat dome over eastern North America. We are going to see temperatures pushing a record 100 in New York City over the next day or so. Tomorrow it's going to approach that. We could see Baltimore, Philadelphia reach the 100-degree mark, and even Boston may get close to that as well. But it's actually what this air mass is doing, and coming up against fresher air. We've got an area of low pressure that is separating the fairly chilly air over Hudson Bay with some very warm air over the Great Lakes and the northeastern United States. If we play through this loop, you can actually see some relatively fresher air associated with this central mid-Atlantic ridge that is digging further and further south. But you can see here that we have got this rather flat temperature profile at the 5,000 foot level over the North Atlantic. We are seeing a strengthening of the jet stream, And if we look at this chart here of the GFS model, this is actually the previous run because the new run is loading at the moment. But if we play through this loop here, this is 200 millibar winds here, so this is essentially jet stream level. And you can see a strengthening of the jet here between the cool over Hudson Bay and the heat over the Great Lakes and the northeastern United States. Now, as we play through here, you can see that this branch of stronger jet winds is exiting in Newfoundland, crossing out over the Atlantic, and the UK is going to find itself underneath this stronger than normal jet stream through the middle and second half of this week. Now, what is important about this is the development of an area of low pressure that's exiting North America. That is going to then start to dig the trough. It's going to cause the jet to dip over the North Atlantic and essentially force high pressure to then build out of Biscay up into the southern UK and Ireland as we move towards the end of this week. Now, a lot of interest on the Glastonbury weekend coming up. We could see some quite changeable weather, but also we could be talking about some fairly warm weather as well. So this is obviously by the time we reach 12Z Friday, 27th of June, and you've got this strong, unusually strong jet for the time of the year, extending from James Bay all the way to the northern half of the British Isles here. But it's this dip in the jet over the North Atlantic that's very important, because that's going to cause an area of high pressure to then build northwards here. And with the position of that high, that's also going to be critical as to how warm the temperatures get over the southern UK. But this is going to be a very mixed week of weather. We're going to get a little taste of everything: cool, wet, windy, warm, humid, dry versus wet across the northwest. It's going to be almost a textbook northwest to southeast contrast through much of this week. And underneath that jet, we are going to see some fairly strong winds quite often this work week. But you can see here, by the time we reach Saturday of next weekend here, the upcoming weekend, should I say, we've got this kink in the jet here, and then it's forcing a northward push of the jet that is going to create some very cool, windy conditions across the northern half of the British Isles, but much warmer, much drier, much brighter across the south of the UK. So that's going to be quite interesting to watch here over the next wee while or so. So if we look at the broader view, let's have a quick look at the overview then and see what it's indicating quickly. So this is off the GFS model today. You can see here the flat nature of the flow crossing over the Atlantic. We're also going to see a back and forth in terms of humidity levels versus something a little bit fresher. Temperatures may even approach the upper 20s once again towards the middle portions of this week. We've got a little bit of a northward push in this high that is going to settle things down. This is by the time we reach Wednesday coming up, 25th of June. We've got this little ridge of high pressure that's going to introduce warmer temperatures once again. Then as we move towards the latter half of Wednesday, we've got a little thundery area of low pressure that's going to be moving north over France. We could see some thundery downpours across the far southeast of the UK, but primarily over the north of France into the Low Countries as well. Later Wednesday and into Thursday, we've got a frontal system that moves through, associated with an area of low pressure at 983 millibars to the south of Iceland. Very much indicative of high pressure to the south, low pressure to the north. It's very much a case that's been the story throughout the month of June. There's the deep trough over Iceland here, strong ridge of high pressure over the central Mediterranean and southern Europe. That's been the mainstay. And when you look at the upcoming 7 days, it's pretty much the same story here. This is mean sea level pressure, by the way, off the ECM weeklies, and you've got an area of low pressure anchored just on the southern and southwestern portions of Iceland. We've got a strong ridge of high pressure over Iberia, France, in the central areas of Europe. Very much a zonal flow. That then constitutes a fairly wet northwest of the UK, less so the further south you go. This is a total precipitation over the next 7 days, by the way. You can see here the northwest of England and western Scotland, western and southwestern Norway, picking up some fairly wet weather, as well as the west of Ireland as well. So it's all west exposed areas of Europe that is going to see some fairly wet conditions over the next 7 days. And as a consequence, we're seeing the warmth east and south cooler the northwest you go over the British Isles. And also with this recent warm spell, we've seen temperatures again start to warm up. This is a 7-day change in sea surface temperature anomalies here, and you can see some cooling over the central the central mid latitude of the Atlantic. Warmer, especially to the south of Ireland and the UK here in the Biscay as well, thanks to that warm weather that we've seen in recent days. But if we go back to the chart here of the GFS, you can see here frontal systems moving in off the Atlantic. But as we move towards the Thursday, Friday, Saturday time frame, there's that little kink in the jet here. As that jet dips south over the central open North Atlantic, we're seeing more southwesterly winds developing with high pressure centered over the near continent. That's going to allow warmer temperatures to come back into play. Wetter, the further north you go, again, we've got a pinch in isobars, meaning windier conditions, and also wetter weather towards the northwest of the UK, but warmer, drier, sunnier across more southern areas. If we look at the 850 temperatures of the GFS, you can see warmer air getting lifted back north once again, and then we will start to see that heat retreat yet again. There's another little surge here of warmer weather moving towards Monday the 30th of June. Again, it depends on the position, where these areas of low pressure tend to deepen. The GFS is actually indicating some very warm weather towards the 1st of July. But if you then look at the ECMWF, it's a bit of a different story. We do have a very similar look, both the GFS and the ECMWF, for the first couple of days of July. But again, it's very, very subject to change. We're still only in the 23rd of June, or the 22nd of June. It's the 23rd of June. So we've still got a ways to go yet, but certainly very interesting week of weather coming up. So yes, do check out the live stream from yesterday. It was a good one. The Tropical Outlook was released on Saturday as usual. Those videos will be linked in the description below if you want to look back at them. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow with more. Bye for now.